unmute there, Carrie.
There we go. Hi and welcome. I'm Carrie Zier, our VP of EXP Divisions, and I am thrilled to welcome all of you to Luxury Legends and Leaders. This is one of my favorite times every month because we come together and really discuss all things when it comes to luxury real estate, but also these specialty niches that we have at EXP. For years, I've been just the EXP luxury side of it, but now we have so many divisions that we are excited to really just display and show our agents how to really make a difference in their careers when it comes to specializing in a niche, whether it's not only luxury, but sports and entertainment, land and ranch, and our newest one, new homes. So today we have a very special guest with me, Johan Sangare. Hopefully I said your name right.
And that's correct.
And the very awesome Janie Coffey. So two extraordinary people that I'm excited to really go have a deep dive into when it comes to these specialty niches. Today, we're going to talk specifically about sports and entertainment as well as the world of land and ranch. And you would be surprised that they all really intersect with the luxury market. So I can't wait to break it down. Both of you, again, welcome. If you want to give a little bit of background about both of you. I know, Johan, this is our first time that you're on air with me. And we're talking about a professional French basketball player. Wow. And of course, Janie's longtime luxury leader, not only with EXP, but really internationally and nationally with all that you've done, and one of our elite coaches. So, Johan, you want to open it up with a few words?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I would not say a professional, I would say ex-professional player. Because when I see those guys run, I know I'm getting old now. But yeah, I've played professional basketball in Europe, in Spain, most of my career in Spain, France, and Italy. I also played on the French national team for a couple of years. But yeah, I ended up moving to the States about 5 years ago, and I was working for a financial company at the time. I was meeting with a lot of realtors, and about 2 years ago, that's when I started my real estate career.
It's amazing. And you know, one of the things I love about hosting on the show is we have some veterans such as Janie and myself, but I do love to talk to those agents such as you, Johan, that's 2 years in the business and absolutely killing it out there. You know, I did a post on Instagram today, and it was about, you know, really if you come in with systems and really the team around you in today's world of real estate, it doesn't matter if you've been 3 years or 20 years or 15 years, it really comes down to the systems, the tools, and really the community that you're around. And I'm so proud of what we're all building together here at EXP Divisions with that. And Janie, you can definitely speak to this. You are on the front lines of many of our divisions. I know right now Land and Ranch has a lot of your time and energy as we've launched so much with this incredible brand. But I'm going to turn it over to you to really talk about that specialty niche.
Yeah, so my name is Janie Coffey, and as Carrie said, I've been involved with all of EXP's divisions since the beginning, and I'm super excited that we are seeing them grow to really fit a variety of niches and interest in property types that are out there for agents, because I truly, truly believe that having a niche or a specialty or whatever you want to call it is the cheat code to more money, more time for yourself, more fun things, more fun clients, more fun properties, all the way around. It's something I'm super, super passionate about. But as Carrie said, I'm really devoting a lot of my time to specifically the Land and Ranch division here at EXP. I'm the co-chair of the luxury division, but my heart really belongs to the Land and Ranch division. I started my career doing equestrian real estate, which is horse real estate. When I looked around, nobody was really standing out for that in South Florida, where I started my career, and just completely skyrocketed with that. And now that we have this division here, I'm also from a farm family. I live on a farm. I can see my 5 generations of farmhouse right from my window. And what I wanted to share, Carrie, when we get into it, is everything under the umbrella of land is so much broader than just farms or ranches or equestrian estates. There's so many other ways people can get into this very large umbrella of land property type. So I can't wait to share with you all.
Well, thank you both. And, as 20 years in the business and being luxury and sports and entertainment realtor, one of the biggest questions I always get asked is, how do I break into it? We have a lot of agents that are aspirational. They would love to do it, but it seems intimidating. And then Johan, we look at you, you're past professional basketball player. It's like you had a way in. It's like a lot of questions we get is, you did have some doors open for you. But my answer is always, even if you have that door open, you still have to service it. You still have to grow your business. You have to keep the business. So give us a little bit about you. You're 2 years into the business. How did you get your first client, and then how are you growing your ecosystem around that?
Yeah, I think, especially for young agents, when they join, we always say you have to join a team. But for me, it was definitely key. I joined the Lugo Group. I was friend with Michael Lugo for about 5 years, since I moved to the US. And joining him and his team really helped me right away being able to deal with athletes and deal with, sometimes complicated cases. I benefit from his experience. He's been in the game for 15 years. So, of course, I always have, good advice coming from him. We do a lot of things together. And we also have an assistant. Her name is Kayla. She's amazing in terms of contracts because, as a young agent, all these things was, brand new to me. Now, of course, I have my past into basketball, but when I moved to the state 5 years ago, I didn't know, anybody here. It was also difficult for me to represent football players because, like you said, I'm from France. I don't know anything about American football. And I still been able to manage having clients who are playing in the NFL. So the key is not to be an expert in the sport, is more to understand what is their need and also understand the type of contracts that they have. Because, from an NBA player to an NFL player, they have two different type of contracts. Most of the NBA teams, they have guarantee contracts, means, if he sign a 4-year deals, he's going to have his money guaranteed regardless he gets hurt or not. In the NFL, it's a little bit different. Some of the contracts are only guaranteed 20%, or 40%. So they don't have the same security as NBA guys. So even sports and entertainment, we don't, we have to basically tailor-made deals for different athletes. And also you have to be careful on what stage they are in their career. If it's a rookie and is just starting, sometimes you might just help him get a rental. And you might not even need to talk about, buying, big time houses or making crazy investments. Sometimes it's just helping them, get their foot into the door, have their first experience into real estate. And then when they get their second contract and they're ready to invest, now you have to be ready to help them and bring them, I would say, investment that makes sense for them at the time, where they're at in their career.
And I love it because it does come down to service. And like you said, a lot of, I think the misconception is, everybody's buying these $10, $20 million homes. No, they may only be traded there for a year or two. They may be younger, like you said, and it may be a rental property at first. But as much as we service them, that leads to the others. And let's face it, the locker rooms are small, right? You've been an athlete, word travels quickly, who can get it done and who can service it. So I love all of that. Janie, in the world of land and ranch, you and I've talked a lot about it. I feel like some of the misconceptions of land and ranch is you got to live in Texas, Montana, Colorado, and here you are in Florida. I know Johan, I know you've got athletes as well that are interested in land and ranch. So what are some of those misconceptions, Janie, when you're talking about breaking into this exciting niche?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, Carrie. The land and ranch title of the division is a little bit limiting in what it really does cover. So if you imagine any piece of property that is basically larger than a single family home on a regular subdivision lot, very well could fall within land and ranch. So that could be single family homes on larger acreage parcels. That could be equestrian land. That could be timberland, farmland, recreational land, hobby farms, homestead, industrial land, land for developers who want to build subdivisions, mines, tons and tons and tons of things. I did a little bit of research recently because I was running up against a lot of people saying, oh, we don't have land where I live. And unless you live in like downtown New York City or downtown LA, there's probably going to be land and ranch type properties, land, farm, ranch, larger parcel properties within a short drive of where you are, or maybe where you are. About 1 in 4 or 5 properties in North America that sell every single year are some kind of larger parcel property. It's literally everywhere. Look at the aerial view of the United States and you'll see how much land is out there. So the way agents can get started, super, super simple. First of all, many agents have land, farm, ranch, recreational land right in their own backyard, but they never thought to sell it. Like, it is a crazy concept to me. They never thought to sell it. So see what is in your yard, see what is in your wheelhouse. I talked to somebody yesterday who had an opportunity to potentially list something, and her family is completely embedded in that area with those types of farmers and farm products. But on top of that, equestrian estates, 2-3 acre acreage home sites, things like that. Find out what's in your area. Find out what you might already be kind of connected to, either in your hobbies, your background, your relationships, your clients, anything like that. Look in your MLS, see what's available. Just do a simple search, 2 acres and up. See what comes up in your MLS. I guarantee you, for most parts of the North America, there's very few agents that have like some dominant share carved out in your area. So that alone means there's tons of opportunity. And then the main 2 other ways that you can start as a brand new person to this specific niche, go after expireds, because they've already tried the person they thought was the person to get it done. And then start to put content out there, short form content, Instagram content, long form YouTube content around that. What you definitely want to do is get educated in the type of land you're wanting to sell, and just the differences with land real estate versus, say, regular real estate, because there might be additional things with wells or septic or fence lines or surveys or things like that. So we have a ton of training on that. And then go after the low-hanging fruit, which would be expireds and content-driven buyers.
I love that. And you and I have talked too about the word farm. I think we're in the South, so it is, I think it should be land, ranch, and farms.
I agree with you 100%.
I know, depending on where you are in the world, for sure. Okay, so I'm a big relationship girl. I built my business on relationship. Of course, with real estate, we do have transactions, of course, and we do have transactional agents. I feel like in a niche, though, relationships win. So I would love for you to tell your stories of, and I'm a big build out your ecosystem, because that one person can lead you to the next person. And, I know within our sports and entertainment division, we have what we call the HQ, which stands for the headquarters, that we can store our ecosystem and really build it out, just a CRM that specializes in sports and entertainment. So Johan, you've come out of playing sports, you got on with this incredible team, but still, do you have a relationship or a door that opened that does seem powerful to your career that's really expanded it?
Yeah, I think what we have to understand, if you want to get into sports and entertainment, is a lot of times those clients, they already have a team around them. Like I say, it depends on where they're at in their career. But if someone is been in the league for 5-6 years, they already have a team. So you have to basically understand that you need to bring value to this team that he already has, and not having to fight your way in. I think the best way is just to go, sometimes not being too aggressive, but being selective on which door is going to open for you. I had a relationship with some of the financial advisor, that are working with athletes. So that's the door that I use to, for example, get into the NFL world. For hockey players, you also might have a door by, friend or family. So it really depends. And like you say, I think it goes down to relationship. And even though you have a past into sports and everything, I think the key is still to know know your stuff. And it's funny that we have, land and ranch today as the same time as sports and entertainment, because most of my cases, they both are the same. Before they want to build, a luxury custom homes, they need to find a piece of land. And if you don't know anything about land, then you have to be in connection with, another EXP agent that can actually educate you, or you have to also join the division, because, that was a huge help for me knocking down a couple of clients, because most of the things now, even athletes, they want 100 acres, 50 acres. If you don't know anything about, ag exemptions or wildlife exemptions, you might just, send them to the wrong deal. So I think it's very important to have, a network where you can always, ask and come and get ideas. And also those guys are getting traded, like you said earlier. So, they're not only going to invest in Texas, they might, next year be in Florida or in LA or somewhere else. So you definitely needs to use, and this is what I love about EXP. I met a lot of people when I went to this convention in Miami last year, and that was key for me. I met, I don't know, 200, 300 agents just from Texas. So that was a huge help, because then I can just take my phone and call someone that can actually help me.
I love that. And EXPCon Miami was amazing, which we're headed to Salt Lake City this year. So more connections to be made. I like what you said. And to your point, I mean, there's sports agents, there's attorneys, there's a whole world out there when you're in sports and entertainment, building that ecosystem. But I don't want anyone to forget. I mean, my story is my foot in Nashville, Tennessee, was the ticket guy at the NHL Predators. So it's like, nobody is, and not that ticket guys are small, but, we're always sometimes going for that big, win, like the sports agent. And it's just those people that are connected to the business that can open up a lot of doors for you. And, when we just keep chipping out one at a time till something big opens up. Janie and Landon, if we compare it to like new homes, you can go directly to a builder and and start prospecting. If you were starting or coaching for someone that really is in an area that they think land and ranch could be beneficial, what type, for us in sports, which is our thing, we can say, go here, here, and here. We've got all these specific people to go target. Who would you target for land and ranch?
For land and ranch, I think you first have to figure out more kind of what is your specialty within land and ranch. Like I said, there's people who work with developers, help them find large pieces of development land to help them buy and then develop into neighborhoods and communities. So you would want to network with zoning people, planning people, developers, people in that world. If you're wanting to work in the farm world, like row crops, orchards, those kind of farm agricultural world, then you're probably going to get involved with like farm credit and the community things around what works with farmers and network with them. If you want to be involved in the equestrian world, then you're going to kind of tap into the equestrian world. That could be the shows, that could be the feed stores. Huge opportunity. The fence builders, because they're going to be getting their property sometimes dialed in a little bit when it's ready to list. So you really have to figure out what specialty or segment within that giant umbrella of land that is most attractive to you. And you can certainly do several. But that's going to help you figure out who is your A team, like you're saying, Carrie, between attorneys, players, also sub-segments. So for land, there is a division of, I think, NAR called RLI, Realtor Land Institute. That's kind of the highest level of education, training, background. Well, that's a great opportunity for referral partners because there's only 800 RLI members in the United States. Our land and ranch division is somebody you want to kind of connect with because those are great referral partners. I know Michael Lugo from Johan's team is also in land and ranch because there's just so much crossover between all our different divisions.
Absolutely. And I love how you broke that down and so many niches within land and ranch.
I made a list of 13 main segments. Wow. And then from those 13 segments, my whole list is maybe 11 pages long. I mean, there's so much you can specialize in.
It's incredible.
Hunting land, farming land, RV land, RV park land,
which
all
is
those,
huge.
which
Yes.
is huge.
Johan, in sports and entertainment, we talk a lot about servicing the buyer. And again, I'm big on, like, we spend so much time on getting the business, but honestly, if we drop the ball, no pun intended, then we lose that business and future business. And a lot of it comes up with, confidentiality, security, all these things. What is your experience with that? Is that really what you see? I mean, I know there's some players that you can talk about. There's some that we don't talk about. How does that work in your world?
Yeah, a lot of times you really want to keep the privacy, but I would say for people that just started, don't be frustrated, because you have to understand their calendar too. There's during the playoff, you don't want to speak to any of the Spurs players. They're going all the way to the final. They are focused on their craft. You don't want to, send them text message and try to sell them a deal or anything like that, because they are focused on what they need to do, which is the priority for them. During the summer, that's when you actually have more time, or during the All-Star break, this is when actually you have more time to meet with them. Or even during the season, you have to make the distinction between when they have games on the road or when they have games at home. And you have to take all this into consideration. And I think, just like you mentioned earlier, Carrie, is the locker room. The locker room is key. If you're doing a good job with someone, like I said, they travel together, they eat together. Sometimes they even shower together. That's what sports is all about, right? They talk, and they're like, oh, I'm investing into a 50-acre ranch in San Antonio, or I'm doing this type of investment. And then that's how you get referrals. So locker room is key. Having, like I said earlier, having the right investment for them is key. If you work with a doctor, he's going to make money until he's 60, 70 years old, hopefully. I don't know any basketball player that plays until he's 70. So they have a short window, and during that window, you need to really guide them, help them. And like you said, service is key. Whatever they need, if you don't have the resources, you just have to go get it and help them go through it. If sometimes they might need someone to help them with tax, even though we're a real estate agent, we just have to, referral them with someone that can help them go through that. And I feel like you have to you have to bring them, you have to help them during their career to make the job easier. And I say also, one last thing is, in terms of, sometimes they don't understand our language, in terms of, if we talk to them about ag exemptions, like I said earlier, I didn't know anything about that 2 years ago. So you have to basically use simple way of explaining sometimes complicated investments, I would say.
I love it.
Once you understand that, then I think, word of mouth would bring you a lot more players. And like I said, they might play for the Spurs 1 year, they might be in Milwaukee the second year, and then you end up having referrals from different states.
Well, I like what you said, because it's not that you have to be an expert in every part of the business, but you do have to be associated with the experts to guide, point them in the right direction. And then it makes you look great. I always call that as building out, my concierge services, so that whatever they needed, I had the expert for them. And it does work, and it makes you look good. And when you said back to that locker room talk, if you are the person that can help them, because they are moving their families in, they are stressed too. They've got games to play. And if you're making their life easier, then you do become the go-to person. So I love that. Janie, with Land and Ranch, servicing seems really challenging to an agent that's really not in that business. And I know it's a lot different than general real estate. So now you've listed this great land property. How are you going to service and sell it? What are the nuances that are different from general real estate, and someone that has not specialized in a niche such as Land and Ranch?
Well, it's the exact opposite of Johan. So Johan is saying often, people have kind of, their careers are limited by age often. So you have a kind of limited window. People who've had a lot of these larger parcels, especially if it's farm or recreational land or those kind of things, that seller might be in their 70s or their 80s. If it's a farm, it might be multi-generations that the family has been farming that piece of land, and now the next generation has chosen not to take that up and continue farming. So there's a lot of, just like Johan was saying, with ag exemptions helping his clients with tax consequences of a sale. The same thing happens where, imagine if your family has owned this 100-acre parcel for a couple of generations, so it has like, the basis is like here, and they're going to sell it. If everything is not set up properly for that sale, they could be hit with incredible taxes and capital gains. So there's a lot of different avenues and paths depending on what their situation is, what their objectives are. So helping them not only while you have the listing, but often before you have the listing, to help figure out what are their long-term objectives with the sale of that property, and how are you going to help mitigate tax burdens and things like that you can legally do that they might not have thought about. So just like Johan's saying, a lot of his players that he works with doesn't understand all the intricacies of owning land. A lot of people who have owned these larger parcels for a long time might not understand all the intricacies of selling them and how to retain as much of the profits from that sale as possible. So that's one of the main differences.
It's so true. And I love how you said it's the exact opposite. In the world of sports and entertainment, we love stories, and I'm a big story girl. So I hope you all have one, because I'm putting you both on the spot. And here's where I'm going with it. What is a great story, either of you breaking into the niche or you having the niche to really help your business? And I think some people fall into it and then they're seeking out, such as EXP divisions, to help them with their brand and continue. Because as you said, Janie, a lot of these niches is no matter what you are, luxury, new home, sports and entertainment, they're all different languages. What I love about the community is these are the things we talk about weekly in our masterminds, and it does help you. So you're not on an island on your own trying to figure out all of this. We do get to hear stories. We get to hear success stories, and we also get to hear those challenging stories of difficult situations. And we all know, if you're in real estate, what transaction is ever just alike? But I can say within the niches, we do hear the same things coming up over and over, really knowing that your way around, especially in your area, and meeting up with other agents such as all of you. So what has been either your break-in story that you said, hey, this is a niche for me, or a story that you truly learned from that our other agents can learn from as well? Who would like to go first? This is our favorite time.
Usually we say ladies first, but I can go first if you guys want. I don't mind. So I think, when you talked about having a team and a real structure around you, it's important because there's a lot of things that can happen. For example, it took us 3 months to find the right investment for one of our players, and a couple days, or I would say a couple weeks before closing on this deal. For example, his signing bonus is not what he was expecting, or the signing bonus is going to be not paid in April, but in June or in August, for example. And then you need to find ways to not lose this deal, because that's what he wants to do. And it's unfortunate that he doesn't have the funds at that time. So having a team of, whether it's builders that very well, have a really good relationship, so you can kind of like explain to them the situation, have a great, lenders, or have a great assistant that, is not going to drop the ball. That is really helpful. And one of the stories is what actually happened this year is that, like I said, that, in the process, everything was perfect, except, at the moment where we were supposed to close, these things happened. And I feel like if I was by myself and I didn't have a team around me, or like you say, if I couldn't just call, anybody from EXP and just have advice, it would have been difficult for me to face it by myself as a young agent. I'm not like you guys with 20 years of experience in the game already. So that was key for me, and that's why joining the Lugo Group was definitely the right move for me in this past 2 years.
Yes. And your example was right on. I remember having one of the he's one of the greatest defensemen still playing in the NHL. And when he came, he was super young. This was his first contract, and I was able to get him as a client. But we had to wait for his first paycheck, which is NHL's guaranteed money. So it does, we knew it was coming. So, but to your point, I had the contact at a bank that I knew that would service him. So we went there. We did not do the traditional lending, showed, of course, the NHL contract. Now, he was not American. We did not, we didn't have even a green card at the time. So, there was a lot of challenges, to your point, to get him financed, work through those loopholes, but it created a raving fan, and I was able to get other clients from that. So again, it's ecosystem for me in sports and entertainment, and having those, whether it's lender, bankers, all the people around there to help you, have a transaction that goes smoothly, of course. So great example. Love your story. Janie, Land and Ranch, did you fall into it? How did you get into it? Has it always been a love? You've done so much within real estate, but now super focused on the Land and Ranch. Tell us some break-in stories, or some of I know you have tons, and I love your story.
I'm going to tell you two stories. One, the break-in story, because it's very funny. I grew up riding horses, so I'm from an equestrian background. I love that. And I was living on a little horse property in Miami. Just looked around. I realized there was not a standout agent that was selling horse properties in South Florida, even though we had a ton of them. But I was really, really new in real estate at the time, maybe a year or two in. This was during the Great Recession. And somehow had the idea to run an ad in, do they even still have those magazines, like those little teeny magazines like this big with real estate ads in them?
I haven't seen one in a long time.
They were
not know what we're talking about.
But I put an ad in there, and because I did, I'm laughing so hard because I didn't have any equestrian properties or background or sales. My business partner, Shelly Northern, who's with us here now too, we're still together in real estate. Wow. We got a picture of a marble horse rearing up like you'd see a fly. And our whole ad was like that marble horse rearing up saying, are you looking for the best equestrian?
It worked.
And it worked. And I sold something, and then it started. I ended up, when I was still in South Florida, that same ad ended up getting us an 1,100 acre equestrian community development that we worked with the developers who had no idea about horses or anything like that. But we helped them develop into these large 10-acre parcels, this equestrian community. So that's the entry story. But very, very recently, there was a story up here in Northeast Florida where I am, where an older family in their late 70s have had 11 mini horses, and their home caught fire.
Oh no!
And when their home caught fire, it was all over the news. They didn't lose. Nobody got hurt. They didn't lose the 11 horses, but they had to be rescued. And there was this huge deal about it. She eventually ended up asking me to help them find a replacement property because I helped them so much when they were just very stressed about the fire. And I didn't help because of real estate. I just helped because it broke my heart.
Good person.
Yeah. But we just got under contract with them, and they now have a new home they're closing on at the end of July that did not appraise, but I was able to go back and fight the appraisal because of my background in equestrian real estate and large parcel real estate, and brought it forward. And when they came back, it actually came in over what we were under contract for. So that's just some of them, which, of course, delighted her because now they can close. But that's just how, when you have the right background and information, you can interweave it through your life. So
I love that. And what a sweet story. And I'm so glad you could help them. As two more questions as we're wrapping up. One, we've talked about servicing, getting it. I love the stories. They're so on point with what we deal with as realtors. Marketing piece of it. How in both of these niches, we talk a lot about these in our power hours and, in Sports and entertainment, we have something called Playbook. I know Land and Ranch has many educational avenues. How does one market? Is it different, the marketing, when you are working with an athlete or working with a land and ranch property that you would, or is there something you do differently, or is it more of what you do in general real estate?
I would say that the EXP sports and entertainment logo, just being able to add that on a lot of content that we put out there is basically putting your name out there. A lot of people ask me questions like, "Oh, is it a special division? You know what it's all about." So that after that EXP con in Miami, I joined sports and entertainment right away, and I started marketing myself. And I see that after a couple months, I had phone calls, calls calling me just because they have seen it, on the internet and also on our website. And so it really helps a lot in terms of marketing. And I feel, if you work with athletes, maybe you put a little bit more like hip hop music and stuff like that.
I love that.
And I saw also on Canva, by joining the sports entertainment division, when you go for a listing appointment, you can come up with those beautiful files with sports and entertainment. Everything is branded, and it makes yourself look 10 times better.
Yeah, I love that. And I honestly didn't know which way you were going with, but I do love our brand. I love the Canva files and templates, and they are there to, like you said, to help. I mean, and this world is marketing every day and a lot of it. So I love your angle on that. Janie, Land and Ranch, how would you market differently than even sports and entertainment or a general realtor?
Well, I mean, anybody who's looking for any kind of land property is normally looking in things besides just the MLS or Zillow or something like that. And so through EXP's Land and Ranch division, we have listing distribution to a lot of sites specific to where folks are going to be looking. If it's farm distribution sites, land distribution sites, equestrian distribution sites, Crexy, which is for commercial land. So we have a big host of distribution partners and really get it exposed to the right people where they're looking, because it's not that likely that somebody is just, scrolling realtor.com or something for these types of properties. And that's what we get with our membership is this really, we have one member who is spending $8,000 a month to advertise his big farm and ranch properties in Texas, that he gets almost all of that now through his membership at Land and Ranch Division.
And I will say, if you haven't checked out the socials on Instagram, all of the divisions have their separate ones, but and I love them all. But Land and Ranch is really on fire with how it's showing these beautiful ranches and the land out there. So great job on all of that. There are definitely niches. That's what we're here today to talk about, is specializing in the niche when the world really of real estate a lot of times is general. A generalist, as I call them. And, as agents, we're sometimes running around just trying to get business. I am a believer when you focus on the niche and you really go after it, your business not only escalates higher, but you also you gain more knowledge. To me, it's more enjoyable in the business because you're targeted of what you can do in making a difference in people's lives. And if you've heard me speak many times, I love this industry. I love all agents, whether you're with EXP or not, and really making a difference around the world when it comes to real estate and serving our clients. So you two have been amazing today. Thank you both for pouring in. If you're an agent out there looking to join one of our divisions, or really just more information, I know Janie and I put a lot out there on the internet that you can still, pick up pieces like you did today. Hopefully there's something that somebody said that will help you grow your business. Janie, I know we've got a Land and Ranch certification coming up soon. If you want to talk about that.
We have a Land and Ranch certification, but even before that, on the 5th of August, we have something called Open Range, which is open to everybody, as opposed to our masterminds, which are for members only. And the title of our Open Range is actually called Not Your Grandpa's Dirt.
I love that.
because we're trying to really get that message out that there's so many types of land under that large term land. You could be helping developers find individual quarter acre lots or gold mines or vineyards or everything in between. So that is August 5th, called Not Your Grandpa's Dirt. It's the open range. If you're interested, go to the Land and Ranch Division website, and you'll be able to get more information and register. It's free, 90 minutes, and you can find out really all these little micro segments within the Land and Ranch umbrella.
And we will be coming soon with a sports and entertainment, another live certification. But as we end, putting you both on the spot, give agents one tidbit about your niche, what would it be?
My tidbit would be just find something that you love anyway. I came from an equestrian background, so every time that I'm working on that type of property, it's like being on vacation. It's fun. I get to pet the horses. I get to see all the stalls. Johan loves working with entertainment sports stars and entertainers. If you like to fish, I have a team member who specializes in waterfront properties. Find something you love that is a niche within real estate, and then you'll never work a day in your life because you will literally love the people you're working with, love the properties you're working with, and you'll stand out as a category of one agent. And you can get a lot of press that way that's almost impossible to get with general real estate for you and your listings.
I love it. Anything to add on to that, Johan?
No, she was totally on point. You gotta love what you're doing. I definitely don't feel like I've been working, especially coming from France. Even when I drive and in Texas, just everything is so different. So every day I'm living the dream.
I love it.
So it's key to love what you do and be passionate. People can call you late at night, early morning. It doesn't matter. You just have to roll with the calls and stuff. But it's been an amazing 2 years, and I don't see myself going back to any other job I used to have. So
I love that. Well, thank you both, and thank all of you listeners. We are here to help you grow your business. If you have any questions about growing your niche, be sure to reach out. I am on all socials, and of course, easy to find within EXP. So until next month, take care, and we'll see you in August on Luxury Legends and Leaders.